Yeah. Hello, y'all. Let's get some light on here. Hopefully not too bright, huh? And if it's too bright, even better. Brighter, brighter, brighter. Anyway, sorry about the camera quality. I've been traveling, so for a couple of months, I haven't done videos much because of the camera. But I thought, you know what? I'm just going to do it anyway. I'm not going to wait till I get the right camera. It's not how I roll, Like for me in life, it's about being the best with what you got at the moment. And some people might not like this video, but because of this, but for me, that's fine. You can close your eyes and just listen if it makes you bothers, but we're traveling for almost a year now. Wow. Anyway, it's beautiful. Love it. Welcome, y'all. Oluwa System. This is like a baby for me, a baby. He's taken over 25 years to come up with a system through awakenings, spiritual awakenings, reading, studying, PhD program, kinds of stuff, experiences, integration, relationship stuff, all kind of things. That's really, really helped to create this system. Like, I wasn't consciously actually thinking about creating a system about it. In fact, I was actually kind of not really interested in forming a system because I thought it was unnecessary. But wow, behold, I feel like, this could actually benefit a lot of people. One of the core principles of this system is anyone can awaken spiritually, anyone, any personality type, any archetype, no matter how further, further one has been on the journey or how new one is in the journey. It doesn't take time. Some people, they might choose to go or slowly. That's fine too. All ways are very wonderful. People can go a fast path for a while, go a slow one for a while, mix it up. It's a free, it's a freeway, California freeway style. Actually bigger than that. It's like multiple infinite possibilities. However, for the sake of having a system, it has been simplified in a way that I can create a system that has millions of, I mean, yes, it has millions of possibilities, but to be able to market it and share it, it has to have like a system, right? For example, the Enneagram system. The Enneagram system has 9 types, right? But it's way more than that. Each type, each person, each type is unique. But for the sake of simplicity, it's 9 types. So in this system, there's also the lower psychological system, which has 12 archetypes. Well, more than that, but 12 categories, I would say, of archetypes. Because some of these archetypes are so closely related, they have to be part of a type and then subtypes. So I do my best to make that simple as possible, but also not too simple that it loses the essence of it. So it's as simple as I can make it, well, while still maintaining the pure essence of it or the oneness of it energetically. So the many spiritual paths and teachers, by the way, often have beautiful teachings, or what is often not said is that those teachings or paths are for a particular personality type. Yes, or a few personality types, and everyone else has to find a way to fit in. Kind of a limbo, so fit on the table. But part of what I discovered on my journey, psychological, spiritual, nervous system healing, inner child work, is everyone is so unique. Like I had just I'm so happy that I followed the guidance, like really. So I've been guided to follow this path, follow that path, follow this path, follow that path. And at the point I was wondering, I was like, look, I've never heard of any awakened being that said they have to follow many paths. So I was a bit anxious about it, my journey. But I just chose to trust that guidance. And today, like I said, Oluwa System A part of actually what created the Oluwa system is the courage to have gone this path, and of course, grace to go through this path. Because all paths take us to the same place, really, the one that's the truth without, right? But depending on one's personality type, that makes a big difference. There are many people who are, if I meet them in a secret society or whatever, or some kind of ashram or whatever, and I'm like, what's this guy doing here? It's a belong here. It's okay, but I don't say anything because it's not my business, right? But I see them. You follow different paths, As awakening began to happen, I began to realize, oh my goodness, I can put people's energies. So they've been able to tell people's life paths. And at first, I kept it to myself because I was like, there's some kind of CD, worried, like that part of CDs and stuff. When I was very careful in the CDs, but I to realize it's not really a CD per se. These are just things that anyone can do if they pay attention. Or maybe not anyone, but anyone who has enough presence and love, being moderately intelligent, smart, and it helps to be in the human design. They call that the projector type, to be able to see deeply into people. So this system actually came also from working with many people in sessions. And then I said, that person, this works for this person, but this works for this person. So it's a work in progress, by the way. I'm going to keep fine tuning the system as I grow and mature and deep into oneness and truth. So if I add things, move things around, don't be too surprised. However, the core of it remains, which is, so don't worry about it. And I might do some little fine tunings here and there, to make it much more easily digestible and understood and the paths to be followed. So basically, there are 12 kind of personalities, and I kind of found a way to make them relate to 12 main archetypes. So 12 each, two of each type. So one type, two subtypes. So 12, maybe 24 total. And there's a central pillar there where people can be aware that all those paths lead to that pillar in center that can take one to any dimension. We are multidimensional beings, y'all. And don't believe what I'm saying, because the Oluwa system does not require belief. It describes, among other things, all many of the dimensions one can dip it into. It's the same vertical axis and expand into, right? So that center to the Christ consciousness, which is the beginning of true awakening in my view. The Christ consciousness is the entry point to the soul level. That's why in Spanish, soul, son, Christ love, son, solar being, same thing. In fact, the story of Christ, if I may digress a bit, or talk about this topic a bit real quickly, is actually, do you think such a beautiful being would have only 12 guys, not even a woman, around him? Does that even make sense? Come on. Part of what in the system is esoteric Christianity, or the esoteric aspect of religions, which includes Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, pretty much all the paths. They all lead to the Christ. They call it Krishna, you can call it the sun, the solar, whatever you want to call it, the bright. That word for it is the bright, the soul, the light. The sun you see out there is also here in us. Some people call it the solar plexus. So the 12 disciples around Christ actually was symbolic, and they were gathered around the sun, the Christ being. So those archetypes and the psyche types, I actually came up with the word psyche type. Maybe other people used it before, but I haven't seen anybody use that. I figured there's archetype, there has to be psyche type. Psyche is mind, right? Psyche. I don't know what for mind. So archetype, psyche type, they connect. 12 main archetype types, 12 main psyche types, right? Two of each, and they did to the same level. So people can begin from almost any layer. Here and there you can start. You can start from here and move to another phase. It's an organic system. You don't have to feel stuck somewhere or feel like you have to go to the beginning. You can start from the top and then integrate down or sideways or either way. That's what I love about the system. It doesn't fix people in a stage. It can move around with it. Of course, with the guidance of hopefully in the near future, we'll be having teachers or teacher training programs where people that are pre-present, maybe not completely conscious or awake, but at least they can maintain presence to some extent. And they have some training in psychology, philosophy, and I've gone through the Oluwa system for a year or two or more, perhaps. They can guide, there are like many levels of that. We'll see what happens, what the universe wants to do with this system. Like I said, I didn't plan it. They will cross my mind. Since they're coming together. Like, oh my goodness, it's a system here. Because I've walked I'm actually going to say all the paths, or many paths, I should say honestly, many paths. And that includes all those 12 archetypes that listed the central being. So if you're an action man or woman that like to do stuff, businessman, warrior type, and you think there's the path for you, and often people that are business minded, I've seen them in ashrams too, in different communities. They think they have to meditate for hours and they sit there pretending like they're meditating. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Yeah, meditation is great, but you're active. You're a man of action, woman of action. Get out there, make money, do business, do something from presence with love. Know yourself. And as the mind clears, one can actually make more money, right? One knows what kind of business is to do. I have some clients I've worked with. One of them I'm actually thinking right now. I would say the name for privacy issues. Even when he was going through that in a session, I just saw that. Oh, sorry, when I was up with this guy, had some business decisions to make, and he was struggling, and I just couldn't get him here and there, and he was happy. And now I feel like he's attracting millions of dollars. So it seems from the way it's been, looks like it's a couple million at least. So this path is for everyone, all types. Even people that are more primitive type, I think there's no path for them. They want to like to do exotic dances, wild primitive dances. Ooh, they too, I call it the magical part, the part of the magicians. It's a lot of people think magic is is a spiritual path, and I'm like, no, no, what are you talking about? It's the beginning, yes, but the beginning is not the end. It's for actually teenagers and young people that haven't been initiated even in esoteric occult aspect. They're given the magical witchcraft. Another word you can call it is witchcraft. But you can call the second layer witchcraft too, but I choose to call it witchcraft just to differentiate it from the other, from religion. Because religion is a deeper layer of spirituality. Magic is the beginning. You have to work with the elements, elements, understand water, fire, It really is for um, beginners, really. Magic. It's a fun, dance a little bit. It's for beginners, really, if I was really honest. But one can do it even as an advanced seeker or finder. Maybe all become finders this very life. Okay, so it doesn't matter. Anyone can incorporate magic into their path. Why not? It just means work with the elements, nature, the body. It's 2D realm. Another what to describe as the body. Because as a teenager or a young adult, the body is developing. And for many people, their energy is stuck at the base center. So what people don't often realize is the physical body has its centers. I don't want to call it chakra. Let's call it centers. When you call it chakras, in fact, Kundalini, most of it actually happens in the physical nervous system. It's not a spiritual phenomenon. Yeah, I'm sorry to break it to you. It can be spiritual too, yes. But just because your body is moving doesn't mean you're taking it. It's the energy, sexual energy moving up to the brain so that one can become intelligent, right? So I'm not condemning it. It's very important, okay? Just to be clear about that. I'm just saying it is not necessarily spirituality because that happens in the astral body and beyond. In the astral body, the energy moves through, but not in the way it's often described. It's actually more subtle. As one meditates, one does the work, the energy begins to move, but it's not always very dramatic. It can be dramatic too, like I said, but often the kriyas, the physical movement happen in the nervous system. And it often happens to those who have had a lot of blocks in their nervous system, trauma. So that energy can clear it. So I'm not against Kundalini. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not judging it. It's great. I'm just saying it's part of the magical part. Okay. Well, has to go beyond. Beyond that layer that I call the magical. Oh, okay. Matter of fact, there are two aspects to this actually. There's also, it's like that body, the physical body nervous system actually can be related to two, which is the brain the mechanical brain thinking and the magical brain, left and right brain, right? Some people are more feeling based, like feminine types. I would like the magical, like dancing with the nature, how dancing, like primitive societies do. They are very much in touch with his body. Then to move the dance, into all kinds of stuff, the music. Woo! Rock music can also come from this realm. Rock music, pop music, the heavy music, heavy metal kind of stuff can actually assist. As long as it's being led by a conscious being that can assist to move the energy upward and inward. If there's not adept around, it can become a very dangerous path because people think they can stop there or they start using the powers for wrong motive. The adept has to keep reminding them that the energy has to move inwards to the being of the soul, to the truth and oneness. So that's part of why I'm not against the system. I'm just naming it for what it is. It is not spirituality by itself. It's part of it, but it's not it by itself. So let no one tell you that they're magical. People go to priests, whether it's the Christian priest or the Imam priest or the traditional priest. Priests are similar. Hermes, right? They're messengers, right? They look at the stuff, they tell you what. As they say, they're messengers, and it's beautiful. Okay. Some of them lead people to the very feminine goddesses and gods, and some lead to the more masculine type. So when people are often like fundamentalist Christian, there's only one way. They are also in that teenager nervous system side, okay, to deal with because it has to do with the brain. So that the things that's very essential in this system, the distinction between the brain and the mind. The brain, for example, is great. It's part of the brain, it's like an antenna, like a mini machine in a way that can get information to the antenna, to the head, distribute it here, part of the magical stuff in our tribal society. They grow their hair, they can trap energy from the area, distribute it, channel it somewhere, all kinds of stuff like that. Okay. So that's that brain, the mechanical brain. And a lot of people go to colleges, universities, professors, scientists, lawyers, doctors. You may think they're very intelligent, or they may think they're intelligent or have critical thinking. And I'm like, no, the brain can do mechanical thinking. It's very good at it. One can be very good at it. One can become a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, can function very well. Mathematics, science, but critical thinking is much deeper. It is to be what has to be able to stand almost like observe the mind or the brain and nervous system. The mind can do it, which is why great psychologists and scientists often have very developed mental bodies, which is a mind proper. The emotional mental body is the mind proper. The vital body and the mind, they're not the same as the brain or the trauma body. Trauma body is part of the 2D realm. So anyway, I do my best to explain as much as I can, and the intention is in another month or two, or maybe weeks, I don't know. I would say maybe in a month or so to start traveling to many countries again and start giving lectures on this or classes, so to speak, in person and online to describe the Oluwa system and to start sharing with many people this path. I intend to reach as many people as possible. Any pretty much any level is welcome. People that are more in the physical realm don't feel like because you are still magical, somehow you are behind. No, one can move from that level to the spiritual. However, what I recommend, because make recommendation is for one to find a way to walk all the path is possible. Focus on one or two that has to do with one's personality type. And you can do the magical while also doing the mind work. But the mind also has to be developed. The mind has to be developed. This mind is not the same as the thinking, mechanical brain thinking. The mind is more subtle, is in fact to understand politics or things that are not mechanical, black and white thinking, uh, require development of the mind. See, the secret society is also another part of this system is to explain to people how the secret societies that worship different deities, right? And this priest class are involved in it. Yes, the priest class, the messengers, they lie a lot. And pastors, priests, imams are part of this group. Not all of them do that, but many of them do. They keep people because they serve the Satanists, Satan worshippers. Okay, I'm not going to say the name of it. It might offend many people, maybe what they'll say, but just think about Saturn. It has a positive and negative aspect. Saturn is a god of minerals, earth minerals and things like that. Technology to mine metals. Any company, anyone that is involved in that, sorry, involved in mining operations, technological stuff like metallic stuff, metal technology is probably is the way connected to this dainty. It's a metallic rev, the metallic rev, working the 2D metals to bring them to the surfaces. Any of those kind of things are connected to, Saturn. In fact, the word for Saturn, another thing, is what became Satan, Al Shaitan, in by the Persians. It's the same. There are beings, people that worship Saturn. The Saturn is not really a man or woman. It's more of an energy or like a type of psychic type or archetype. And it's not bad. It has a positive side that can really bring a lot of money. Gold, diamonds, stuff mining is beautiful. The shadow of it is greed, manipulation, and slavery. So that's part of why the banking class tend to worship this deity connected to it. Okay, so let's a lot of people talk about banking, and in the system I describe it very well. And in the book that's coming with it, by the way, I guess I forgot to say that the book that's going to be coming with it. Okay, it's a book with it. This book is going to talk a lot about many of these things I'm talking about, just in case I didn't mention it. So once the book is out in a couple of weeks on Amazon and hopefully on the Oluwa website, you can purchase it. I'll print some copies to take with me so that people can order it. So it'd be like a companion to people that are interested in the journey. Because there are many people who have been on the journey for many, many years who are getting frustrated because maybe they've had some awakening experiences and they feel pretty good, but somebody they're not able to stay present for long periods, or people who have done a lot of trauma work, but they don't feel like they are establishing presence, or people that just want knowledge. Because I also talked about the structure of the global control. A lot of people don't realize that the world is controlled from different layers to a large extent, not completely, of course, and that are what I will call Barbara Head Cloud, who are one of the great teachers um, that I know, male or female. She talks about the world, she calls it the world management team. I choose to call it the world management system. Because the team can make it look like they work together. But it's a system that has many, many components to it, which is why I prefer to use the word system. And in this system is how they control. So many of the politicians that people see in the world are actually from the different mystery schools or the secret societies that are the psychic types, that are connected to particular deities, right? So Trump, for example, represents a particular, I'm not going to mention that name yet, our society. If they fielded him, and these guys want to take the world in a particular direction beyond what the bankers have been doing. Because they realize that because the banking system is beautiful, that's a positive side, but the shadow side of it is greed and slavery, more and more money, and then people are dying and bleeding and they don't care, money, whatever. So the end goal of that is just allowed to play itself completely. It's world war guaranteed because they want to take everything, all the resources, they want it under their control, all of the global resources, and they're like countries like tweeting it. They're like, what's going on? This is for us. So of course they're going to go to world war. So another layer. So there are many layers in. Okay, let me slow down a bit. Okay, I will slow down, but let me say it differently. I never slow down. Anyway, was I saying again? That's why I keep talking sometimes because if I stop talking for a minute or a second, I forget what I'm saying. One of the attributes of the presence is this. Sometimes I'm talking and teaching, and people ask me questions, and then I have to ask what they're talking about again. Because everything I'm saying, by the way, it comes from the silence. I know it doesn't always sound like it, but trust me, I'm not thinking about what I'm saying. Why think when you are? Anyway, thinking has its place, by the way. That's part of why the Oluwa system also encourages people to think and be rational and intelligent. But sometimes there's no need to think, just let it flow. So anyway, I embody the Oluwa system, right? So why would I have to think about it? Because the system is outpouring for much of what has happened to me in this journey, this life, and even past lives, and in this last life, from what I was told by existence over and over again, that it's my last life. The only reason why I live the way I live is because, wow, this is it. So I can't come back here. So do as much, travel, reach as many people as possible. And a system that I feel like I'm actually getting a bit emotional, a tiny bit, it's really coming up right now. I would love everyone on the planet to awaken in this life and really live a life that's really, even if death was to come, they say, okay, you're welcome, no problem. And what I see that's been in the way of many people living a life, even people who are not spiritual, I don't care. Wherever you're at, just go deeper. Yes, I would prefer people to awaken this life spiritually and beyond. However, for those who want to, who are not in a hurry, who sure, yeah, fine, no problem. They want to just psychological work in this life, or hear the nervous system in this life, or whatever, just get some knowledge. Fine, no problem. I'm not against knowledge. If you are with the Oluwa system for knowledge, no problem for me. Okay, there are teachers that are don't support that, but for me, that's where some people are at. And don't be ashamed, don't be embarrassed. That's what you are. You don't have to tell anybody. You don't have to say a word about it. Just read the books or come to classes and get some knowledge. Write books too if you want to write books, no problem. Just. Anyway, if you get it from lower system, at least have some integrity to say from a lower system, okay? But if it's strictly yours, no problem. This is from the universe, okay? So lower system is from existence, completely all of it. So, anyway, thank you all. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. If it was a live show, I would ask for questions right now, but it's not a live show. Well, it is a live show, really. But what I mean is if I had audiences. But for those of you who find this video somehow, I'm hoping and intending that many people find this video and the videos on the YouTube. I'm doing my best to stay committed to making it maybe 1 or 2 videos, 4 or 5 days every week, so that in the next few months it could be maybe 200 if possible. Maybe that's a big ambition for me, but I figure if I do 2 a day, 5 days a week, that's like 10 a week. I don't want to put pressure on myself. And 10 times 4, that's 40. In a couple months, that's about 80. So anyway, we'll see. Maybe I'll make some more than that. Who knows? We'll see. I do my best by the grace of existence to share this message with as many people as possible throughout the world. The great news that as you are awakened, but the universe doesn't ask you to be any different. And I used to think that people just have to hear this, jump, but I'm realizing that, well, so maybe you're one of those people that are ready to hear the great news that you don't have to be any different than the way you are to awaken spiritually and live a wonderful, fulfilling life. Yes, you may have to heal those some old emotions and feelings trapped in the nervous system or the heart area, on the heart or whatever. However, when we say that be yourself, what is often meant is your true self, the being, the soul, the psyche, healed, not like just whatever the fuck you want. But that is often misunderstood, like, oh, just do whatever. No, no one has ever said that. I would be very irresponsible to say that. They know thyself, the true self. And the true self is wonderful. It's beautiful. It's great. It's amazing. Your true self, my true self. Okay? So there are many layers of who we are. But most of the trauma is in the nervous system that are in the system is part of the 2D. Why do I say 2D? Because our physical bodies are very connected to the 2D realm. Water, earth, all those things, right? We had a walking earths. Each one of us is a walking earth. We are like this planet, in a body for walking around. So there are billions of earths on this one earth. We are all walking earths. Multidimensional being from the 10th to the first. 10th to the first, right? So the book also talks about all the 10 dimensions too. The first. The first is the earth realm, the core. The 2D is the earth realm and our body, right? We're part of the earth, right? Super body and bones, right? 3D is the mind and emotion, true mind and emotion. The brain and nervous system are part of the 2D realms. Yes. So the book I described is A trauma work, a lot of trauma work has to do with how to purify the body and mind to remove much of the elementals from the earth. Many of them don't belong there, to remove them, send them to the earth so that the body can be as pure as possible. So there are many of these things. And then the fourth is the astral, of course, where people have their awakening, spiritual beyond Kundalini, by the way, like I said, beyond Kundalini. Astral body doesn't have chakras. It has centers. I'm going to call it centers. Chakras, generally, when we use that word, is physical body or the nervous system. Not against it. Well, I'd rather use the word centers for to describe the astral body. That's centers. Maybe 200 or so, I would say. Maybe in the near future, people are interested in my able to describe many of it. I would say about two to 300, I would say, centers. And some main ones, maybe 10 main ones, I would say. 10 main ones, uh, and like two or 300, you know, together. Anyway, okay, together for the truth. In service of oneness and truth. Then the fifth dimension is where I feel that one can say one is awake or conscious. Because in the fourth dimension, again, it's great. I say in the book, and then the upcoming tours we're going to be talking about is, and also music will be part of it. It's part of it. Music, yeah, because I'm also a singer songwriter. So that's another part for singers and artists and dancers. So it's a complete system as far as I am aware of now. It's a pretty complete system. I could say perhaps to be a bit more humble. But really, like I said, existence is doing this. So anyway, so the love. In the fifth is where love really is born or happens. The fourth has some love, but it's like a trickle or like a river, like a small river, you know, goes through the heart. But what people don't often ask themselves is where is this love flowing from? It's coming from the being. So when it's flowing through the heart center, it's a love, love. It's flowing. When the heart is unblocked, it flows naturally. There's a wisdom, all this is flow, right? The question we're going to ask ourselves is where are they coming from? They're coming from the fifth, six, seven, eight, nine, 10, and beyond. That's where they're flowing from. Towards the earth, right? Okay, good. So the 6D is more like a beauty to call it. That might be the best word for it, beauty. I don't mean physical beauty necessarily. It just means where the masculine feminine energies are working so beautifully together, no fighting anymore. But part of what causes people to not make much progress in their journey is because their masculine and feminine sides are at war. They, this one wants to go that way, that one wants to go that way. So there's a harmony that forms on the journey whereby they start working together. And when the masculine is required, it does. And when the feminine is required, feminine, the masculine doesn't fight the feminine. No. They just work together in harmony. And that creates a kind of soulful beauty. And the sixth dimension is where they really merge. And it gets embodied completely. And the masculine feminine up and down it starts integrating completely. Sixth. The Syrians in the sixth dimension are not ascended masters. They are beyond ascension. Ascension is an astral phenomenon, angelic. So the angelic realm is part of the astral, and the mastery, I would call it, is beyond the ascension. Mastery requires integration, right? Mastery, body, mind, ego. So that's sixth dimensional. And then when that happens, almost completely or completely, I would say about 60 to 70% of it, when there's a lot of integration that's happened a lot, I would say it might be about 60% or 70%, or even 85%. Either way, it's considered the one is able to move to the seven. We call it the Christ consciousness, Buddhahood, whatever you want to call it. It's when one begins to hear the sound, oh, not just hear it, embody it. So as one embodies his own completely, one is complete being. So to fully get to the seven and beyond, eight, nine galactic levels, one must have done some integration work to be able to have enough grounding, to be able to keep rising and expanding in all directions, right? So the seven is where one is able to pop out from the cage of individuality, and one begins to merge with the universal being, and merge with the universal being more and more. So being to one dissolves completely into it, while still having the individuality, but not being stuck in it. Makes sense? Anyway, these are things that we can talk about in the classes. For those that might see this video, have that question, and you can ask me. I learned my lesson. I don't want to give my phone number online again. I was getting so many calls and texts from all these marketing companies. I was like, people reaching out like they knew me, but they were just marketing. Like, so now I'm more careful. Uh, but maybe email. I need to check my email more often. Oluwa Ozen, Oluwa Ozen, Oluwa Oluwaoz, British is Z, right? Ozen as in Nancy, Oluwaoz at gmail.com. So ask questions. All topics are welcome. Politics is in there too, by the way. As I was saying earlier, how the world is controlled, completely, all the, so the world is moving in the, our direction. And then in a few days, you see signs of this happening. The Iran war will end somehow. Somehow, it has to, because World War is off the book now, off the game completely. No one is allowed. Even the humans that give humans the technology, the aliens, they don't want it, so they don't want to destroy their lab. They're like, no, 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 don't declare war. So somehow the Iran war will be done. I don't know how long, much longer, but so I'm recording this video, 2026, I know 6 p.m. Nigerian time. Or it might take a month, yeah, I don't know, but it will end. So those of you that are worried, anxious about it, don't worry. Keep having great intentions for the planet and for yourself and for your life, and doing the work, and then integration and awakening meditation. And we are all part of the process. As more and more humans awaken and realize who we are, and do the work, the deeper, the higher, so to speak, the earth ascends and deepens into, because we are her. We are her. The more of us are awake and conscious, the more and it's already happening. More and more people are awakening. Some people are awakening psychologically, some spiritually, some that's it. Whatever way you're awakening, because people think awakening is only spiritual or soul. It can also be psychological awakening or growth. One can grow. Part of the reason why the Oluwa system exists is to teach people how to grow their mind, how to become more intelligent. By reading classical literature, pop music is good, hip hop, but those are more primitive. They're primitive music, nothing wrong with them, but they trigger the nervous system. That's fine, no problem. Classical music is designed for mind and spirit. It is Mozart, the way it was really written, not the way it's been messed with. Classical music, some devotional songs that I really love, a center of devotion to the deity or the whatever, or the universe. It's also beautiful to assist to make one more human. To be human is a great thing. Many of us are not, many people they're more like machines. When people are caught up in the 2D realm, they function more like a machine, like a robot, mechanical thinking. Boom, 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 Mohammed, Christian, this, black and white thinking. That's a machine. This or that, or magical thinking. Oh, none of the neoliberal people that are met in California. They think they're on the spiritual journey. They are not on the spiritual journey yet. They are in the magical realm. Their rituals. I'm not against this, by the way. They go to dances and all, nature dances and music, and it's fine, no problem. It can be very beautiful and wonderful. However, to make it spiritual, it requires presence, love of the spirit and soul of the being. And so many of the classes going to be teaching are going to include many of these things to guiding people, and then there are going to be different groups. But every group is going to be catered to where people are at. There are people that are doing the nervous system work. Some people are more on the meditation cycle. Some people are more on the awakening. Some people already awake, perhaps, or at least they consider themselves awake. Those kind of people, they might just want to keep rising and deepening the truth and expansion. All kinds of people are welcome in this system. So we'll find a way. The universe will find a way to make it make sense and be consistent to many souls in this life. And after I leave this body, this life, and bye bye. I tell the many people will find it for generations to come. And into that system one way or the other. The universe wishes that. Much love. Blessings. Take care. Before you go, thank you. Blessings.